Armed men, a man dressed as Santa Claus, a pop-up barber giving haircuts, and protesters holding signs which compared President Trump to Rambo and Dr. Anthony Fauci to a Nazi were among hundreds who descended on Pennsylvania's state capitol to demand Governor Tom Wolf lift the statewide lockdown.
Demonstrators chanted, "Open us up," and "Let us work," as they gathered on the steps of the Capitol building in Harrisburg, while others in cars circled the area and honked their horns in agreement.
Wolf, a Democrat, has faced stiff opposition from Republican-run counties in his state who are demanding that he allow businesses to reopen.
A number of counties have even defied the governor's lockdown by allowing non-essential activity to resume.
Pennsylvania State Representative Russ Diamond, a Republican who represents Lebanon County, was greeted with cheers after reminding the protesters that county leaders defied Wolf by reopening the economy.
Diamond and others also demanded that the state's Secretary of Health, Dr. Rachel Levine, resign.
Some of the protesters were heard chanting, "Lock her up," and "Impeach Wolf." According to the York Daily Record,
Wolf has been accused of overstepping his authority by imposing what some consider to be one of the strictest lockdowns in the country.
The mild-mannered Wolf has had to decide how far to go in enforcing the orders, mindful of criticism that he's nothing short of a tyrant.
And visiting the state Thursday was President Donald Trump, stoking the conflict with tweets such as one that said Pennsylvanians want their freedom now.
He told reporters before leaving Washington that Pennsylvania ought to start thinking about opening it up. "You have a lot of people who want their freedom, and they'll get their freedom very soon."
Like in swing states Michigan and Wisconsin, Republicans are trying to ensure that Democratic governors, rather than Trump, take the blame.
Tom Wolf is going to be as much on the ballot as much as the president, the legislature and Congress for his handling of this, but he's going to be judged not just by Republicans but by Democrats and independents, said Lawrence Tabas, chairman of Pennsylvania's Republican Party.
For Democrats who have stood by Wolf, that's just fine right now.
Polls show that the public has generally embraced how Wolf, who easily won re-election in 2018, has managed the crisis.
A Washington Post Ipsos poll released Tuesday found that more than 2 in 3 people surveyed from April 27 to May 4 approve of how Wolf has handled the outbreak.
Trump's approval nationally in the same poll was at 43%.
The political fight is much over people's well-being and public health. Federal health officials are aligned with Wolf's cautious approach, as it is over who will be blamed for the state's economic devastation if it is not on the mend by Election Day.
About 2 million Pennsylvania residents have lost their jobs since mid-March.
Food and milk giveaways draw long lines.
Some people have gone 2 months without money because of the state's problem-plagued online unemployment benefits portal.
The protests appear to be working, as the governor moved on Friday to at least partially lift the lockdown in several counties.
Another 2.6 million people across western Pennsylvania began to emerge from pandemic restrictions on Friday as Wolf prepared to announce that 12 more counties soon would join them in a partial easing.
Wolf planned to announce that Adams, Beaver, Carbon, Columbia, Cumberland, Juniata, Mifflin, Perry, Susquehanna, Wyoming, Wayne and York will be the next batch of counties moving to the yellow phase of his reopening plan, effective May 22, the Associated Press has learned.
They are primarily in the south central and northeast regions of the state.
They'll join residents of 13 lightly impacted counties, including the cities of Pittsburgh, Johnstown and Altoona, where Wolf lifted his stay-at-home orders on Friday and gave permission for retailers and other types of businesses to reopen.
24 counties across a vast swath of primarily rural northern Pennsylvania were the first to see a partial reopening last week.
All told, by the end of next week, more than 40% of Pennsylvania's population of 12.8 million will have seen an easing of pandemic restrictions that were intended to prevent hospitals from becoming overwhelmed with very ill COVID-19 patients.
The state's efforts to contain a virus outbreak that has sickened over 60,000 and killed more than 4,300 statewide have cratered the Pennsylvania economy, and Wolf is under pressure from Republican and some Democratic county officeholders to reopen more quickly.
Some GOP-controlled counties have vowed to lift restrictions on their own, without Wolf's blessing, bringing threats of retaliation from the Democratic governor.
In the counties where Wolf has lifted restrictions, people are now permitted to gather in groups of up to 25, although larger crowds remain prohibited.
A wide range of retailers, offices and industrial sites can resume operating while observing state and federal health guidelines intended to prevent viral transmission.
However, gyms, barber shops, nail salons, casinos, theaters and other such venues are required to remain closed and other restrictions will remain in place, including a ban on youth sports.
And bars and restaurants may still offer only delivery or takeout service.
Pennsylvania, which borders hard-hit New York and New Jersey, has about the 10th highest rate of coronavirus infection nationally, according to federal statistics.
Critics of Wolf's shutdown orders, primarily Republicans, contend that they are inflicting undue suffering and are no longer warranted, saying he has met his original objective of ensuring that hospitals did not become overwhelmed.
Local officials have cited the opinions of doctors at their area health systems who say the state's economy can safely reopen and coexist with the virus.
Sign-waving protesters, many of them without masks, staged another rally at the state capitol on Friday to protest the shutdown.
Small business owners in particular have chafed against Wolf's closure of non-life-sustaining businesses, saying it threatens to drive them out of business.
A handful of gyms, barbers, hair salons and restaurants have opened in defiance of the governor, saying they can operate without putting their employees or customers' health at risk.
Wolf has said they are jeopardizing their business licenses and other governmental approvals to operate.
About 2 million Pennsylvania residents have lost their jobs since mid-March.
Food and milk giveaways draw long lines.
Some people have gone 2 months without money because of the state's problem-plagued online unemployment benefits portal.